Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with the sixth of our first impressions showdown videos. That's what it was called. I don't know why that was skipping through my mind, but yeah, showdown, first impressions showdown. So today we're doing four shows. We have Clone High, Tomodachi Game, Blue Lock, and the Idaten Deities No Only Piece. It's a long title. The Idaten or Idaten, I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. Deities No Only Piece. So let's talk about all of these. Clone High is something that I obviously have heard about because I'm on the internet. People talk about it a lot. I've seen a couple clips randomly here and there, but don't remember too much outside of the "say what" line from the Gandhi character. I know the general gist of the plot of Clone High. Basically, it's a high school inhabited by clones of famous people. That's the gist of it. Um, I don't know any specific details outside of that. I don't know all the characters in it. I just know a couple of them. Um, and I've heard it's supposedly really good and really funny. Um, I'll check it out. Apparently, a new season just recently came out too. Um, Despite the original coming out over 2 decades ago. The first, it originally came out in 2002, and then a new season just came out this year, I think. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to feel about it, what to think. We'll just end up seeing. After that, we have Tomodachi Game, which is the rest of these are all anime. Clone High is the only non-anime here. What I know about Tomodachi Game is that from what I know, and I don't know how accurate this is that it is a series capitalizing on um, the fame and overall interest factor that people had in Squid Game when that came out. I don't know if Tomodachi Game is an original or if it's based off of a manga. If it's based off of a manga, it's not really capitalizing on the fame and popularity of Squid Game, though, right? Because it already existed. But if it's its own property, then if it's an original, then yeah, it kind of could be. All I know about Tomodachi Game's actual plot, though, is nothing. The only thing I know about Tomodachi Game at all is the fact that I have seen the mascot character, whatever you want to call it. Um, and so yeah, it's I know what this mascot character or whatever is it looks like. That's pretty much it. I know it did well enough to where a lot of people did like it, though. I will say that a lot of people were talking about it all the time. We'll see how it goes. Another one that supposedly took a lot from, at least from what people have said, from Squid Game is Blue Lock. Blue Lock, from what I've gathered, from what people have said, is basically Squid Game but with soccer. That's what I've heard people refer to it as. And that has gotten me interested since I first heard that, but I just never checked this out. Um, I feel again, if this one has a manga and everything, it's probably more accurate to say that something like Battle Royale inspired it rather than Squid Game. Squid Game's just one of the newer Battle Royale style movies or shows or whatnot. Like the genres existed since the original Japanese film, and it's it's kind of unfair to say some of these newer shows and stuff are the new Squid Game when it's like this genre exists outside of Squid Game. Um, but yeah, so that's what I've heard about Blue Lock. And I know a lot of people reacted to this series. I know a lot of people just watched this series, and apparently it's pretty good according to what I've seen. But again, I'll judge based on my own experience here. But finally, we have the Idaten Deities Know Only piece. This one is not related to any of the others, really, in terms of, I think, even release date. Um, this series, I'm deciding to check out because I saw like one clip on YouTube that caught my attention. I saw this clip and I'm like, oh, the fuck is this? And so I looked in the comments, and it's someone mentioned the name of this series, and it's the Idaten Deities No Only piece. Why do I keep saying no piece? No, it's No Only piece. Um, and so I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never even heard of this one before. So I decided to add it to my list of stuff to check out for one of these. And when deciding what to do today, I just went with it. Um, so yeah, I don't really know anything about this other than that one clip, and I don't even fully know the context of anything that was happening in that clip. All I know is it was pretty violent and bloody, and it caught my interest. What does that say about me? No, but in all seriousness, it's like it seemed interesting. That's just the best way to put it. And so I decided to check it out. So, unlike with some stuff we've done on this, this set of four is mostly stuff that I've vaguely heard of, and stuff that I know very little about. Like, excuse me. Like, there's a lot of that stuff that we've done on these, but for the most part, there's like, I have like some level of, I wouldn't say knowledge about the shows that we do on these first impression showdowns, but I know them a little bit more than I do with these shows. Or at least have heard of them more. Because even though these shows I've definitely heard of, heard people talking of, seen that some reactors I follow have reacted to them. Like, I know Blue Lock was reacted to by your boy Roshi. I don't remember if anyone else reacted to it as well. Maybe SOS Bros. But point being, that's mostly where I heard about it from, and then I heard a couple people talking about it here and there. But like even with like the last time, it's like, oh, only murders in the building. I've heard a lot more about this series, even though if I don't know a lot about the plot. Oh, what was the other one? There were two others, but um, um, something about League of Their Own. League of Their Own. League of Their Own. It's like, yeah, I've heard about this. I've heard people talking about it. It consistently has gone like across my radar. And Kim's Convenience. I see clips posted all the time on TikTok, and I've seen one of them myself. It's like, yeah, it's again, it's been across my radar many times. But these series, it's like occasional hearing about. It's very sporadic and rare. Um, but again, I'm willing to give anything a chance. And so this time, I guess that's our kind of underlying theme with this set. Shows that I've barely heard about. That's the only underlying theme you could really have here, because not even all of them are like one medium. There's three anime and one cartoon, a web cartoon yet. Um, so for all the anime, by the way, we're going to be watching in sub. Mainly because I think I don't know if any of them have a dub. I didn't find any on the site I got them from. Um, but on top of that, I just wasn't really choosing to do a dub with any of these. Like when I choose to do a dub, it's usually because I've heard the dub is good or I know someone who's in the dub, stuff like that. Um, but obviously Clone High is in English, so there's that. Yeah, we're just gonna get this going and see what these four shows have in store for us. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back with the first of our four first impressions today. This one is for Clone High. So hope you checked this out. If you checked out any of the others, thanks for checking those out as well. We're going to get into spoilers for Clone High, though, in 3, 2, 1, now. I don't get it. Like, there was maybe like a couple jokes in here that were funny, but it's like most of it just wasn't, and it's not even like it was anti-funny or anything. Like I've seen plenty of shows or movies or whatnot where that are supposedly funny that just are actually anti-funny. But no, this was one of those that was just like honestly bland. It's like it wasn't even like aggressively unfunny. It was just like so boring. Um, let's get this out of the way. The voice acting is shit. And it's very noticeably shit. And I know that this is like a web series or whatever that's like um probably made by a small team and everything, but I don't know if they just like went with getting the most inexperienced voice actors or if it was like just one or two people. Honestly, it sounded like it could have just been one or two people playing every character. But it's like it just didn't feel like anybody or any of the voices knew what they were doing. It just felt like a couple of them were just trying to do bad impressions, and the rest were just not good at voice acting at all. And there were a couple characters that really stood out as being bad, like the general or whatever. Um, why did the general sound like pretty much everyone else in terms of just the voice for one? Like the voice did not fit the character at all, and it was excessively distracting. It sounded like some teenage boy instead of like a general character voice. And then again, a lot of the male characters especially sounded like it's the same voice actor trying to do different voices and failing most of the time. Um, it's just it was distracting too. It's not just I'm not just trying to be mean or anything, because I'm sure the VAs get better over time. I'm sure that they improve, and they're probably a lot better by the time the new season from this year came out. But I'm not going to just stand here and lie and praise them when I genuinely believe the performances here were bad. I believe that that's more harmful than anything. Um, if I ever did any acting things and I was bad, I would want people to tell me. And I know I'm not a good actor, so I wouldn't want people to lie to me just to spare my feelings. That's disingenuous. I would want them to tell me the truth so I can improve. And again, I'm sure these VAs did improve, but these performances were not good at all. The art and animation I'm fine with. Like, I actually think it looks completely fine. Like, some of it's a little janky and stilted, but I feel like that kind of is fine for the type of show it's going for. It doesn't feel like too out of place or ill-fitting for the tone of the series or anything. So I'll give it that. The teenage drama stuff for the characters, I don't give two shits about. And the thing is, it didn't make me give two shits about it. It's like that, and that's basically your job. If you're going to have like this love triangle thing, especially going on with Abe, Cleo, and JFK, it's like you have to make me care that the characters are having this love triangle. Because otherwise, it's just cringy as hell. You have to make me care that Joan is jealous and has a not so secret crush on Abe. You have to make me care that Gandhi apparently buckled under the pressure of being a clone of Gandhi, which I guess they do know, and acts like a wild party animal and a dumbass because of that pressure. The problem is it kind of expouts all this stuff without actually making us care about the characters, which in turn makes all of this irrelevant. It doesn't matter because it doesn't do anything to hook us into the series, invest us in the humor and the story and the drama and the characters, or anything like that. And it's disappointing because I feel like there's potential here. I feel like a series like this has potential. And again, there's maybe a couple jokes that worked. But there's also like random ass shit like the sentient peanut creature that George Washington Carver made. Why? What was the point of that? It wasn't funny. It wasn't clever. It wasn't interesting. Also, Van Gogh's revenge on Gandhi after being wronged on the call and everything, and Van Gogh being a little like Smeagol Gollum like thing. It's like, the fuck? And it's like the thing is, there is some clever shit in this too. Going back to Van Gogh, it's like it's talking about his depression and everything, and it's like that's shit Van Gogh went through. There's actual shit in here that is relevant to the real life people that these clones are based off of, are created off of. And that's cool. But again, this is trying to be a comedy, an irreverent teen comedy, and it doesn't work. because it's not funny. It doesn't make us care about the characters at all. And it just it's just too distracting with some of its glaring issues, in my opinion. Um, so if it wasn't clear, I have no plans to continue reacting to it. Again, I'm sure it might get better later on. I'm sure the voice actors get better later on, but for the time being, it's clearly not my thing. It's not something that I plan to get back to. But that was only the first reaction, though you might have watched these in different order. But for me, the first reaction recorded for this. So we have three more. We'll get to that. If this is the only one or last one you watched, I hope you had a good time nonetheless. And for now, yeah, I'm Connie, and I hope you enjoy the entire showdown. And we are back, and we'll begin with the second, or whatever order you end up watching these in, set of afterthoughts for Tomodachi game in 3, 2, 1, now. So this combines mystery with death game, although in this it's more debt game than death game, at least from what we can tell so far. It combines mystery with debt game with a little bit of deductive reasoning, and even brings up the idea of a possible traitor, and so many more options here. And this very much could have just been your typical battle royale type series, like your typical death game kind of thing. But instead it's trying to do things differently for a number of reasons. And it's trying to make itself stand out. Like, yeah, it has a lot of the same tropes, a lot of the same concepts as a lot of these others, but it still feels different. It feels like its own thing, and I appreciate that. The characters, our main group, come across as archetypes. I'll put it. We have the classic male protagonist, the female love interest who's a little bit of a tsundere, the straight-laced upperclassman type, even if he's not actually an upperclassman, but that type of character. You have the sweet and cutesy nice girl, and you have the buddy-buddy friend type character. It's like all of them are an archetype you see a lot in anime. And as this goes on, we'll obviously, I would say, see different aspects to their characters. Different parts of what makes them who they are. And we'll expand upon them a lot. But we're also seeing these tropes used in a way as to kind of illuminate the possibility of the traitor even more. And the question kind of comes up to, is the traitor working for these bad guys or with them? Is the traitor the one who stole the money at the school? A lot of questions here. A lot of very important questions here. And by utilizing all these standard anime tropes with these characters, it doesn't give us a good enough view into any of them right away to to have a guess that has any merit. Because the thing is, with them being trope based characters like this, any of them could easily be the traitor and it'd be believable. Like, one of your instant thoughts might be, oh, the sweet cutesy girl is a little too sweet and cutesy. It's a little suspicious. Or you might think, oh, the straight laced guy might have a chip on his shoulder. He's got to be the one. No, it's the buddy friend. You can never trust them. It's like you get that point. Every trope could easily be suspicious for various reasons. But all of them could also be seen as, you know, non suspicious for equally as many reasons. So you have to kind of look into it here. Like, one, is there only one traitor? Or is there multiple? We actually don't know that. Because remember, two of them disappeared out of nowhere for what, a couple days? So that makes them suspicious as well. It's just there's so many questions and everything, and it's obviously not going to just give us all the answers right away. Um, and on top of it, we only saw the card for our main character. We don't even know if all of the cards said make up your own question, and this is what happens if you get right or wrong and everything. Um, so we don't even actually know if everyone said that. It was just our main character kind of presuming. And on top of that, all of these questions have been extremely simple. All of them have been easy to answer, except the final one, which we know is just a regular yes or no question. That there's no little thing on the bottom of the card that says about the debt amount and everything. That's the only thing we do know about all the other cards, because that was directly said. But we know this one's just a simple yes or no question. But the problem is, it's also the only one that's extremely complicated. And by that, I mean, like, it's a nuanced question that doesn't have a simple yes or no answer. So what do you do in that situation? Because there has to be a right answer here for them to be able to win. The problem is, neither of those answers, neither yes or no, could be considered a right answer to a question like this, because there's no way of knowing. Like I said in the reaction, the idea of you always being friends is a nice idea, but it's not something you can know. It's not a simple yes or no. It's not a simple fact of the matter thing. You have no way to know if you will always remain friends. You might split up into your adulthood and go in your completely separate ways and have no contact with each other the rest of your life. The idea that you'll always remain friends is very unlikely. But it is possible as well. So the question kind of comes down to, it's like it's not a question that can be answered, because there is no yes or no answer to it. So what do you do? Apparently our main character's idea is just to start speaking, even though he's not supposed to be speaking because he's not the question reader. And even the question reader, I think, is only supposed to speak the question. So, did he figure something out? Because if so, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just, again, an impossible question to answer yes or no to. There is no correct answer. But they were saying like the correct answer is yes, but that's not necessarily correct. So how can they say that? Unless the answer is like what they all actually think. But I don't know. That feels like that could go in different directions by nature. So it's really unclear where this is going to be going and what they're going to do with all of this. But if it's not very clear, I mean, this was very fascinating, extremely interesting, and it's something I definitely need to see more of. The question is, do I want to continue to react to it, or would I rather watch this on my own time, though? And I think I could react to this. I think this is one that I may not be like super hyped over continuing reacting to, but I definitely can see myself continuing to react to. I definitely think it would be a fun idea. And so this one, yeah, is going to be added to the list. But tell me your thoughts down below on this first episode of Tomodachi Game. And no matter whether this is the first thing you're checking out or the last or the only thing, I hope you enjoyed. And for now, I'm Connie, and yeah, thanks for tuning in to this part of the First Impressions Showdown. And we are back, and we'll begin with the blue lock portion of these afterthoughts in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I guess you could say conflicted here, because it's like there's a lot about this that I really enjoyed and am very invested in. Things about it that really like interested me and got me wanting to see more. But then there's aspects of it that is just like, eh. You know what I mean? It's just like, part of it is because of my lack of interest in football, or again, soccer if you prefer. I guess depending on where you live. I think is it only soccer in America? In specifically the US? I think it's called football pretty much everywhere else. I don't know. Anyway. But I'm just not a fan of it. It's not interesting to me. It's not fun to watch. It's not exciting. And I know I might be in the minority on that, because I know football is a massive sport. The World Cup is this huge deal, and people love the shit out of it. I can't get into it. Like, again, I'm not a big sports fan in general, but if I have to watch sports, I prefer stuff like combat sports, like boxing or pro wrestling. Or, like, for more standard, typically thought of sports, I would go for baseball any day of the week. Baseball is much more interesting, much more fun. Football is just not that interesting to me. The thing that makes this interesting, though, is the one, animation and design of things. Having characters make these crazy faces and everything. The animation being pretty damn smooth. Not to mention the kind of almost Death Game style training they're being put under to become the best egoist striker. It's fascinating for sure. And kind of makes you wonder exactly how this is going to all continue to go down. There's language used in this episode that makes it seem like these characters are going to die, but we don't see the outcome of this, at least first test here. We only see that in the end, the one who loses is Kira. he's the last one to be hit in this game of football tag. And we don't actually see what the outcome of this is. So is there going to be death game in aspects in this? Like, are people actually going to die? Because if so, that will hook me in. And don't actually answer that. I don't want answers to that right here. I'm working through my thoughts by asking these kind of questions. I don't actually want answers. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm kind of wondering that. I'm kind of thinking, like, is it actually going to go all the way with this? Because this is the third thing I'm reacting to. I already reacted to Tomodachi Game's first episode, and that one, I was kind of wondering if it was going to go to that level too. Sorry if I'm like picking at myself. It's like I got like a hair stuck to my lip. But yeah, so I'm kind of wondering that with both of these now. I'm kind of wondering, like, are we going to really have that at all? Are we going to really focus on that kind of aspect of things? Because right now, with both of them, it just seems like it's like maybe they're just other things happen. With Tomodachi Game, it's like more debt. Kind of more akin to Kaiji Ultimate Survivor. And with this, it seems like it's just they're kicked out and never get to play for the Japanese soccer team. But again, certain bits of dialogue and everything from this hint at the idea that they're going to die. That it's not just going to be like they're kicked out and are restricted from ever playing with the Japanese team. It just seems like it's more than that. And all of this is being whittled down. There's like 300 or so of them, I think it said. And it's going to be whittled down to 5. There's going to be 5 who, I guess in 6 months' time, are going to be all that's left, and they're going to be competing in a tournament to determine, I guess, who is the number 1 striker and who's going to be the egoist to take on this crazy-ass dude's dream. Which is a fascinating concept. But it's like, if they are just eliminated and just let go, like, I don't know a lot of Japanese law, so I don't know, is this kind of shit, like, legal? Like, yeah, they're agreeing to be there. They were even told they could leave. They agreed to stay. But they didn't sign any kind of contract, and people, their families and everything, they probably didn't tell them they were, like, doing this and all, and it's just like, I have no idea where this is going, because it's like, is this kind of thing, like, this kind of, like, high-intensity training kind of, like, camp thing, just the way it's being done, legal? I don't know. I have no idea how this works. But I am interested enough to want to continue. I will say that. I don't know how this is going to end up going. I don't know if I'll continue to really enjoy this. But at least for now, I will say that I do plan to continue this as a reaction series. I just don't know exactly, like, if I'm going to get through all of it or not. At this point, I can't tell. I don't even know how many episodes. I want to say it's like 12 or 13. I think it's a single core. But yeah, again, there's certain things about it that are very interesting. The death game style of aspects to it, the expressions and animation, the kind of intensity, some of the characters' personalities, like the sleepy kid who's kind of crazy in a delightful way. Also, I just thought of something. They were talking about the under 20s team, right? Like that's what was said. It said U20s, but it's like they said under 20s. I did catch that. So all of them here are under 20, right? And at least we know, like, it's implied at least that our main character, that he's a high schooler. Because that was the phrasing that was used and everything. Like, um, second year and third year members of the team and stuff. Like, I assume they're supposed to be like probably high schoolers, or at least some of them might be like right out of high school. Just as long as they're under 20, you know. If some of these are kids, like actual kids, then their parents are going to be fucking worried about them just disappearing, right? Like, let me go back to something real quick. I want to go back and check that letter again. I'm going to mute this so no audio copyright issues come up. Um, there was a letter that was shown from, yeah, a letter from the Japan Football Union. Let me see if it like shows anything. It just says, Isagi Yoichi-sama, that's our main character. You've been selected to become a certified athlete. There's some other writing on there, but it's not translated at that moment. Let me see if I can find more. No, it doesn't say what else it says. Afterwards, it just goes to this Japan Football Union with him standing there. But no other information seems to be given. So it's not necessarily said that they're going to be, like, staying there. It's not said that they're going to be, like, staying there the entire time and everything. But creepy ass dude does say that that starting today you will live here together. You're not allowed to go home and everything. You'll say goodbye to whatever soccer. What did that say? I'm trying to skip through this, but I accidentally skipped by it. So whatever soccer life you've been living up to now. So he's like, it's kind of implying that was not in any of their plans. They weren't planning to like stay there. That was never what they were going for. So yeah, their families and all are gonna like they're gonna be missing for at least 6 months unless they're sent home earlier and stuff. What are their families going to think? And like they just show up like a couple months down the line again, unless they're killed. And then again, what happens with their families? Like there's going to be there's going to be multiple manhunts out. It's not like Squid Game where in that series the people who were brought in were people who were like at the end of their ropes, had no families and friends who would be searching for them in the first place, were at the end of their luck, massive debts and shit, just in the worst place imaginable. But it's like, it's not the case here. These are normal young athletes who would definitely have friends and family who would be scared and worried for them if they just suddenly went missing. So how the fuck is this going to be addressed? See, that's one of the things that definitely interests me about this. I like it when a series makes me think and makes me wonder this kind of stuff, because it's fascinating to have these questions pop up in a series and wait for some level of answer to be given as it continues on. So it's like there's enough keeping me interested right now to where I am going to continue reacting to this, but there's also certain things that are holding it back from being like really exciting and interesting to me. The main thing being it is about football. So, and again, maybe that's just me. I know there's other people who aren't really into football, but still. I know I'm in a minority there in terms of people hating on it, but and I'm not even hating on it. I'm just like saying I don't like it. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes. We'll continue it at some point in the future. But for now, tell me your thoughts on this first episode of Blue Lock down in the comments below. And as always, no spoilers. Thank you for tuning in. And whether this is the first, only, or last reaction that you're checking out for this first impression showdown, I hope you enjoy any and all others you watch. Or if it's just this, I hope you enjoyed it. And for now, yeah, I'm Connie, and I have one more of these to go. And we are back with our Idaten Deities Know Only Peace portion of these Afterthoughts. And we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I obviously didn't want to look anything up because I don't want spoilers or anything, but this, I rewatched that ending part just to see if I could try to make heads or tails of it, because there was like all the blood and everything like in the creative like prismatic ending little scene there. There's like blood splatters like shooting out and everything. I'm like, are they killing her? Is she killing them? Is someone else killing them? What's going on here? But I think it was just supposed to be like this creative censorship while they were continuing to rape her. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. So it said that there's Zobel soldiers, and Zobel is like this America. Let's be honest, this America-like capitalist nation that's trying to take everyone else over through force, and is hyper militaristic to the point of it causing issues with their like air and water quality. So you have this nun in what looks like a town that's being destroyed by the attacking people, and they just come in and just rape her. It's the way they present it helps it from being as horrifying as it is, but it's still pretty horrifying to watch. I think I was just in the moment kind of confused at just the way it was censored. It just caught me. It caught me off guard, which helped me from getting like too upset at it, obviously. But let's talk about the general focus of the episode, not on that ending scene. So, this is a world in which demons and everything used to ravage the land 800 years ago. But the prayers of the people eventually brought upon these deities, these gods that were just basically brought out of nowhere by these prayers. They would come in and fight off the demons and eventually seal them away. But in sealing them, most of the deities had to become part of the seal, leaving only one girl behind. Eventually, more deities, I guess, were born based on the prayers of the people. But because the demons have been sealed away, it's been an insane peacetime. So the deities, while Rin, the only one who was still there 800 years ago, tries to train them, at least especially Hayato, it's, again, they're not really doing much because of peacetime and all. That is until we see this scientist finding a demon trapped in the ice instead of, having been sealed away, trapped in the ice of the Arctic, and is trying to free it in order to use it for his own selfish goals and whatnot. The demon ends up breaking out, and because she was spying on them, ends up seeing one of the deities, one of the Idaten. I don't remember her name. I don't remember her or the nerdy guy's name. I only remember Hayato and Rin. But the demon notices her, starts attacking, and soon a fight kind of ensues with the others. The nerdy guy gets just blasted through his midsection, his like chest and midsection, just completely like blasted through with like a finger, to the point where he's like has this massive ass hole in his chest that does eventually it is eventually shown to heal. And we see the girl ends up being like smashed against the area they're in, the iceberg and everything, while Hayato is blasted away, which ends up just absolutely violently murdering the soldier that was there with the scientist. But Hayato comes in, and because he's been trained with Rin, outside of her, he's the strongest. He's been trained for 80 years, and so he's able to take out the demon without too much issue. He catches up to the old man, who, the scientist, who shouldn't know about the deities, but he does. So they're kind of wondering, is he not human? And my first thought was that he was like a cyborg or a robot. And that ends up being proven true. Hayato accidentally purposely crashes the plane, not at first realizing that, yeah, that would probably kill a person. But we find out that the scientist is a robot and probably has multiple bodies, so I guess the real one is going to be fine. So he's going to be able to return because of that over and over again, probably having multiple robot bodies destroyed during the course of this series. And so, yeah, we see kind of some good action in this, a lot of blood. And even a little bit of comedy. It's a very wild, trippy series that doesn't seem to take itself too seriously until it does. And what I mean by that is a lot of this is very goofy. But then it's like it suddenly will show something extremely serious, such as the rape scene at the end of this. But the way it presents it allows it to be more digestible, because obviously that's an excessively horrifying and dangerous and terrible situation. So that they censor it in a way that's more palatable to make it, easier to digest, to make it easier to sit through without causing too much, misery, basically. Also, the nerdy guy was kind of making a call about this nation and everything, saying don't let them get their hands on like the corpse of this demon. So there's definitely something more going on there. It's a very interesting series so far. It definitely seems very different than anything I could have expected. Again, especially in terms of its like tone and style. I'm going to continue to give it a chance. The rape scene was a lot, but again, they did work to censor it and made sure it was very clear that it was like terrible as hell. I mean, it's not trying to deny that by any means. I think like also it's almost a little over the top in its presentation too, because you have these kind of ugly ass hyper militaristic soldiers raping a nun, like kind of the typically seen personification of innocence, of like Christian innocence, basically. Or I don't know if it's Christianity in this, but whatever, you get the idea. Religious innocence. It's like it's kind of the opposite of what they stand for, and so it's like it's meant to, it's an over the top depiction of a loss of innocence and of, evil, terrible actions. Like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. I think the only thing worse would be a child, and that would probably be a little too much. Like that would be going too far, honestly. Um, but it's not depicted as like it's supposed to be comic or anything, at least. I've seen some things try to depict assault in a more comical way. That's why I could never get into Seven Deadly Sins. Like, tried watching that, and it's like, oh, our main character is going to constantly sexually assault this girl? Oh, fuck this show. But no, it shows it very much as being horrific and evil and just one of the absolute worst things you could ever do, if not the worst thing you could ever do to someone. And that's good. That's a very good thing. That's how it should be portrayed. Again, it's just the trippy censorship caught me off guard when I was initially watching it. But yeah, like I said, I think I'll continue to give this a shot because I feel like there's enough here that could be entertaining and fun, while the stuff that is more horrific and intense could be portrayed in a way that makes it very clear that we're not supposed to enjoy it, but showcases how evil that kind of stuff truly is. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I'll end up getting through the whole series. It might end up becoming a little too much, but I'll give it a shot. But that is the last of these that I at least recorded. I don't know what order you're watching this in, or if you just watched this one. But now we are going to move on to my final thoughts on just the entire first impressions. Why is my mind blanking? Showdown. On the entire first impressions Showdown as a whole. So let's get into the final afterthoughts. Okay, and we are here with the final afterthoughts following all the reactions and all the other afterthoughts we did for each of the 4 reactions. So just as a quick recap for all of them, there are 3 we are going to be continuing, and those are the 3 anime ones. Clone High, I have no plans to continue, mainly because the first episode I didn't get it. I didn't find it enjoyable. Maybe it gets better, but for at least that first episode, it didn't do enough for me to want to continue. The other 3, though, did do enough for me to want to continue, even if I have... Like, none of them are, like, super invested in. None of them are, like, ones that I am, like, I need to continue this. No. They're all, like, I'm interested in continuing. And I think that's probably the best I could have hoped for. Tomodachi Game, Blue Lock, and Idaten Deities all gave me stuff that I was interested in, all gave me stuff that I was invested in, stuff that got me thinking, stuff that got me theorizing, and they all, while not perfect, gave me enough to want to see more. And yeah, I mean, outside of just all of them impressing me, which I think last time is the only time that has happened. Last time is the only clean sweep we've had. But outside of something like that, I still enjoyed this. I still enjoyed doing all 4 of these, and I know it's just like another 4 to add to my ever-growing list, but it's fine. It just means we always have stuff to react to in the future, you know? And at least it's not like donation rewards, which it's like I have you guys waiting on a long time. With these, it's more like I'm just the one waiting on. Though you guys might be waiting on a couple of them too, just from these videos. You might have been like, oh, that was actually pretty good. I want to see where that goes. It's not as highly focused on investing into you guys as like a donation reward, because that one you donate for, you know. That's why I did the donation reward appreciation week, because I had been putting off a lot of your guys' stuff for so long. I wanted to get to some of it. Even if just the first episode for the moment. But all of that being said, we are going to get to the next one probably within a month, I would assume. I have a good list of stuff to do for these first impressions showdowns, so I have more coming for sure. Unless anything ends up getting requested and whatnot, of course. But for the time being, I'm gonna continue doing these because I have fun doing them, and they add stuff to the list for the future. Plus, it's a way that I check out stuff that I might not have otherwise checked out. Like, I probably would have never checked out any of these shows if I didn't do these first impression showdowns. So there you go. Unless, again, someone ended up suggesting one or two of them as a reward. But in general, I would have never checked these out on my own. None of them, not a single one. So there's that positive too. Yeah, it was a mostly good set. It was a mostly good set. And next time we might do something a little more. I don't know. We might do less reactions. We'll cover that when we get to that. But for the meantime, we're just going to focus on what we got here. So if you have any thoughts on any of these first episodes, please leave in the comments below. If you have like anything you want to add, anything in general, please feel free to comment. Comment on whatever you want. Try to keep on topic if you can, but you know. Either way, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.